Hi everyone, I'm Wardah, a STEM Scholar Mentor, and today we'll be going over the last lesson of Unit 3 of Algebra 1, Transforming Formulas. So when transforming formulas, we want to keep two main things in mind, which is to isolate the variable and to rearrange the equation. So while solving when solving a regular equation, we actually take out the terms completely. So if we had 2x minus 6 is equal to 0, 2x minus 6 is equal to 0, we'd add 6 on both sides to get rid of minus 6. But when transforming formulas, we just rearrange those equations instead of actually deleting the terms entirely. And we'll go over that in this equation. So to isolate the L variable in this formula, P equals 2L plus 2W, which is the perimeter formula, we're going to move the term 2W to the left expression. So we know that we're just going to subtract this on both sides, subtract 2W on both sides, and then we get stuck with P minus 2W is equal to 2L. So in order to simplify it further, we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 2, and then we're stuck with P minus 2W over 2 is equal to L. And for the same thing on this side, but just for the W variable, we're just going to move the term 2L to the left expression. So subtract 2L on both sides, then divide that by 2. And we're stuck with W is equal to P minus 2L over 2. So now I want you guys to do 3 questions on your own, so just pause the screen and then we'll go over it. Okay, so these are the answers that you should have gotten. Number 1 is 1, number 2 is 3, and number 3 is 3. So for number 1, the formula that was given to us was V equals 1/3 pi 3 squared h. And they asked us to isolate the variable r. So I know that they have pi here, and this might be a little bit of a surprise, but just treat it like any other equation and just rearrange the equation, isolate the variable, we know what to do. So we're going to start off by multiplying 3 to cancel out 1/3, because when working with fractions we always multiply by the reciprocal. So then we get 3v equals pi r squared h. And then what I did was I divided h and then divided pi, but you could simply do this in one step and just divide pi and h in one step, and either way we're going to get 3v equals h pi 3v over h pi equals r squared. So then our final step is to square root both sides of the equation in order to get rid of the square. So after doing that, our final answer is r equals the square root of 3v over pi h, which was choice number 1. For number 2, this is pretty simple, not as many steps. We have I equals prt, and they're asking us to isolate the variable r. So I did it all in one step. I divided p and t at the same time, which leaves us with r equals I over pt. You could have done this in 2 steps, but you'll still end up getting the same answer. So I'd recommend just doing it in one step and avoid confusing yourself. Now for the final question, it seemed like, at first it seems like the numbers are pretty big because it's P1V1 equals P2V2. So, but treat it like any equation. We know how to do it. So the equation given to us was P1V1 equals P2V2, and they asked us to isolate the variable V2. So we just divide V2 on both sides. The variable they asked us to isolate was P2. So we just divide V2 on both sides, and then we're stuck with P1V1 over V2 is equal to P2, which was choice number 3. That's all for this lesson. So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me on my email down here. And if you're looking to practice with any additional resources, JMAP and Khan Academy are some great ones.